we still have a few more questions left. So the next question is, okay. So the next question we have for you, sir, here is like, what are the roles of students or say youth for the upliftment of the society as well as for the next generation?
Sorry, I didn't get that. What is the role of students?
Right. What are the roles of students or say youth for the upliftment of the society as well as for the next generation? So that's the question we have here.
Okay, so I take it in two parts, like as a student and then as a youth. So as a student, students are kind of the most energetic crop of people in the whole nation at most of the time. They're innovative, they're energetic, they have new ideas. So yes, they are the ones who will have to experiment with the ideas and kind of come up with how they want to shape up the next decades for our country, because they would bring new ideas basically. But having said that, I would also like to point out one concern that I am of late having about the youth. Although yes, I am also part of that concern. That is with social media. A lot of time is wasted in social media. The youth needs to understand that that this is just you start off. You think that you want to do something, and you just the mobile phone comes in your hand, and then you end up wasting 3-4 hours even without starting your task. So I think that's one area that the youth, I would want the youth to also focus upon and uh, uh, try to reduce the hours that they are spending on useless, mindless scrolling, and instead think of ways in which they can contribute or like come up with more innovative ideas. And I think eventually students will be doing everything that will come up to the second part of the question, that is when they become like the youth in general, after their student phase. Whatever skills that they have learned from their student phase will be useful when they come into their job profile. At this moment, one particular area that I would want the youth, like everyone in the country, would like the youth to focus upon is entrepreneurship, having new ideas, coming up with their own entrepreneurial capabilities, and starting businesses. That's definitely an area. Uh, because and added to it, if you are like, if you want to go for government service, then also you have to come into service with a mindset that you want to serve the nation instead of self-service. You should not be focused on self-service and go into the paths of like complacency or corruption. Just stay honest and contribute to the nation and the society as a whole. So I think that's it. I don't even think that I'm qualified enough to give much advice in this aspect. But those are the two things: maybe mobile phone addiction, and secondly, just stay honest and be innovative.
Thank you very much, sir, for the answer. So we'll continue right away with the next question. So the question is newspaper notes making strategy. So that person wanted to know, how do we prepare this notes making out of the newspapers? So
as I said, I don't believe in note making from newspaper, and that's a bygone art. It's like past. People used to do it when they, like, it was 7-8 years earlier, but now I don't think anybody is making. At least in the market, I have not seen a lot of successful candidates who are making notes from newspaper. They read it just for the sake of knowing it, because anyways, someone will make notes from these newspapers and then come up with compilations, be it monthly or annual, and those will be much better notes than, in general, will be much better notes than the notes that one fresh candidate will be making.
So, sir, on top of that, like, I would also like to ask, so how do we prepare good answers? How do we craft or say structured out the, suppose when it comes to essay writing? So would you like to give any strategy tips?
Okay, so So in general, I'll first give an answer with the GS answer. Uh, answer I answered in point-wise format mostly. Uh, the first step to answer writing is to understand the demand of the question. The, I have seen a lot of people not answering to the exact thing that is being questioned. Let's say they are asking, uh, what are the aspects of, let's say, X? What are the, no, let's say they are asking what are the social implications of the implementation of the scheme X. So what the candidate does is that he writes about everything that he knows about the scheme X rather than actually writing what will be the social implications of those of that scheme. So the first thing is to answer the demand of the question, understand the question, and often the question has too many parts. Like there are three, four parts even in one question. So the first thing is to identify what are the parts of the question, and then think about what is the demand of the question. So you have around 30 to 40 seconds to think about those things, and then come up with multiple points to justify whatever the question actually wants you to answer. The first part is then after that there is an introduction. So for introduction, uh, different subjects would have different approaches for introduction. For example, if it was polity, I often started with some judgments, be it from Supreme Court or High Court, some famous judgments, or I used to quote articles of the Constitution. Mostly those were the starting introductory things that I used. For polity, if it's for economy, then I used to quote some scheme or some statistical data. For example, if there's a question on poverty, then I used to quote what is the last poverty data, or like what is the inequality data. Um, I had by heart it's something around 700 to 800 such statistical data which could be used and quoted here and there. So you will have to find out those statistics on your own here in using internet or from other sources. So these were some ways that you can start. Then once you start introduction, then the main body I used to answer in points. While answering the points, it has to be as multidimensional and as holistic as possible. Instead of writing 3 points and going for a paragraph long explanation of each point, I would rather give 6 points and just two-line explanation of each point. Because it's once you mention the point, if the point is well framed enough, that's good enough indication. He would understand. The evaluator would understand what you're going to say. And let's say I'm giving 6 points, then with each of the 6 points, I try to substantiate it with some example, some case studies, or some other statistical point. Let's say, for example, I'm saying that the logistics cost in India is not at par with. Let's say there's a point called high logistics cost in India. Then I would quote that the logistics cost in India is around 13 to 14% of GDP, while in the developed countries or the Western countries, it's around 7 to 8% of their GDP. So something like that. So whatever you are saying, you try to substantiate those things. Um, Having said everything throughout those answer, you eventually go to the conclusion. It's not always necessary to give a conclusion. There are two conditions when you might not need to give a conclusion. Number one is if the conclusion doesn't actually add anything new to what you have already mentioned throughout the answer. Just don't say that these are the ways in which you can do this thing. So that is a useless conclusion. The conclusion should be you can only mention it. You should only mention if it brings down some other uh, something new. Let's say you have mentioned the issues of this scheme, and then you in the conclusion you can go with way forward, like we can address these issues in this way, and you give some innovative solutions to those things. Just don't say that does throughout this answer we have seen these are the issues plaguing this scheme, because that actually adds effectively nothing to the answer. And the conclusion second condition when you might not need to give a conclusion is if you are running out of time. Conclusion doesn't actually bring much of value. Your introduction and body actually brings most of the things. Having said that, however, if you can come up with something like that, I quoted as example now that you mentioned some way forward, or you can think of another case studies or like judgment which can give a new angle to this. So then you can go for conclusion. So that can be the basic structure for GSN, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. That was very brief, very insightful. So we come to the last question. There are aspirants, like you can start preparing your questions. If you like to ask to start directly, you'll be given time. Before that, the last question we have, this is based on your like the interview. They wanted to know the interview insights. So the thing is, I would also like to ask you on your experience, if you could share us a little, like a brief of your experience, your story, how your interview went, and how was it, and how can we also like take some maybe tips from you again on that. How should we prepare mentally? So
Okay. So third stage of the exam is called a personality test. Although it's often quoted as an interview, even we do that, but we know that it is not an interview. It's a personality test. Like they are not going to uh, like they are trying to see there are certain criteria. If you look in the the syllabus, they mention what criteria they are looking forward, like awareness, that you are mentally cognizant, that you are cognitively aware of whatever questions they're asking, and you're alert, you have your good etiquettes, you are respectful. So balance of opinion. So those are the various things that they are trying to check through different questions. They're not per se, they are not trying to ask you like 1914 May, whatever happened was who was what was the name of this person. It's not that type of interview. It's more of a personality test. So my experience was very good in general, because I had given a lot of mock interview, around 10 to 12 mock interviews. So got into the habit of speaking under such circumstances for quite some time. And I For example, in the main board, I had the board of Honorable Smita Nagraj ma'am, and there are 5 members in the board. Uh, Once you go there, normally the chairperson starts the question. So she asked me, since I had Indian Foreign Service as my first preference, she asked me how can I use my medical knowledge in if I get selected into services. And then she asked me some questions mostly related to IR, international relations, what is the status of India's relations with neighbors, uh, what can we do better, mostly those type of things. And then once she was done, she handed over to the second member. The second member asked certain questions related to, because back then there was national education policy was in news, so he asked a few questions on national education policy. Then some normal generic things like what job would you consider as noble, and do you think all jobs are noble in its pursuit? Since I had medical, so it just came along that medical is a noble pursuit. So uh, it's more of whatever you say, they will pick on to those words, and then they will ask next questions. So it's up to you, if you are calculative enough and if you are cautious enough about whatever words are coming out of your mouth, then you can actually थोड़ा सा control the interaction. However, not necessarily. They might sometimes go totally off of whatever you were saying, and they might come up with their own questions. For example, since once again because of my service preference of IFS, which is a kind of unconventional, thoda sa used to be. So fifth member's entire interview went in line with nuclear diplomacy and all. So uh, in general, knowledge of various things help. It's not like that you will be missing a very basic knowledge. Then it doesn't leave a good impression of you. But just having decent enough knowledge about various things, and enough confidence, and coming up with some witty replies here and there, I think that's good enough.
thank you very much, sir. So that was the last question that we have collected from the aspirants today. So we have got few more minutes. So we would like to take this time. I would like to also give this time for the aspirants, those who are attending this session today. So you can ask sir directly. Kindly, you can switch on your camera maybe, so that will be much better. So we will start right away, I think. So is there anyone who would like to ask sir any question?
I think there are quite a few hands. Maybe it would be more streamlined if you can name someone, and then otherwise everyone will be chatting you.
Okay. All right. So Pahi. So we have Pahi here. Would you like to ask a question, Miss Pahi? Okay. So we are giving you the time if you would like to ask to sir any question. So this is the last Q&A session we will be having.
Then someone else might ask.
So I will take the time to ask sir that which phase of UPSC is the most challenging, the exams part, or the interview, or the training, or the life after joining the service?
I think every stage will bring its own set of challenges. I don't think I will be able to comment on the challenges that will come after joining the services because I'm still under training. So training is fun mostly. It's not that stressful. It's fun, and I think for me and as far as the interactions I have had with other successful candidates, the most challenging stage seems to be the prelims as of now, because it's very unpredictable. You cannot possibly have an idea on what questions or what topics they might come up with. So although this is the first stage, it seems that's the biggest challenge at this moment. People are very scared of that stage.
Hello, hi sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It feels blessed and honored to speak to you, sir. I have some few questions regarding preparation for UPSC. First question is when and how to start answer writing, and the second is how much time required on a daily basis before prelims and after prelims.
Okay. So when and where to start answer writing? Firstly, I personally had not given a lot of test series. Once again, might sound repetitive, but because of lack of time, but I would definitely say that you should start answer writing from around, you can do it in two phases. One is before prelims and one is after prelims. So before prelims, you can probably do from the month of November to December, or October to December at best. So those 2 months of answer writing, and maybe you can push till the first half of January. And after the first half of January, I would myself prefer to go into prelims mode and stop answer writing. And after the prelims is done, then you can start answer writing again. It's not like that from day one you have to start answer writing. Without content, what will you write? I don't believe in starting mindless answer writing. It has to be good. I myself focus on quality of answer rather than quantity of very inferior quality answers. So secondly, daily time that you need to give before January. I personally take January as the cutoff mark for prelims and before that, because prelims mostly happens around May. 4 to 5 months of dedicated time, I believe, is good enough for prelims. So before January, 5 to 6 hours, proper dedicated, not distracted 5 to 6 hours, is good enough. And after January, the more you give, the merrier. There is no such limit. You should focus much more on revision after January. Whatever you have studied, you have to revise it. It has to be such that the Lakshmikant book used to be this big. I forgot how many pages. It was around 500 pages or something. Yeah. So starting before December, I could finish Lakshmikant in 1 week, and by the time prelims came along, I could finish Lakshmikant in 2 hours. So that's the level of revision that you need. Like, I think you should try to have that. It becomes almost automatic. You see the book, you are done. Like, don't even need to, not even look at the words. You can just skim through.
Okay. And any tricks to how to manage word limit management?
Just as I said, there is no trick. At the end of the day, you will have to be diligent enough, and will have to do some extra mile efforts to scrap off some time here and there. I used to work during morning hours, during evenings, and late nights I used to study. Sleep was definitely compromised. I used to sleep for 5 hours or something, but you have to compromise on some end, because everyone will just have 24 hours. कहीं ना कहीं से तो you have to manage the time.
Okay, asking personally, how many hours do you spend on answer writing?
Answer writing? No, I did not do, because you see, answer writing, the thing is, for answer writing, it largely depends upon your speed of writing. Since I was from a medical background, I knew that my speed of writing is good enough. So what I did was, I did a lot of brainstorming of the answers in my brain rather than on page, because I knew that once I had the thing in my brain, structure in my brain, I can anyways translate it into page. So everyone will have different strengths and weakness. If your writing speed is not good enough, or you think that you're a slow writer, then you should definitely give way too many hours on writing, because completing the paper is very, very, I think it's one of the first thing that comes along after the mains. How many questions did you leave? Because the more questions you leave, the lesser and lesser chance that you will qualify. I personally left no questions, and it's not easy to complete all the questions.
Yeah. And sir, any advice for the upcoming prelims 2024?
No, nothing in specific. Just keep on revising. Whatever you have studied, it's almost done. Just thoda bahut idhar udhar you can look for some new information from the test series and all. But in general, it has to come from revision.
Okay. And what do you think? How much important is PT 365 for prelims?
Okay, I'll answer this question, and I think there will be some other people also who will want to ask this question. Yeah. So PT 365, how much is important? At this stage, the way UPSC prelims is going forward, I think you cannot consider anything as important. Like, you might finish PT 365 4 times, 5 times revision, but there might be 0 questions from PT 365. But then again, it's a competitive exam. You just have to do better than the guy who is sitting beside you. You are not supposed to answer all 100 questions. You are just not supposed to leave those questions which will be answered by most people. So if most of the people in the market are doing PT 365, then let's say one question comes from PT 365, and then those sincere candidates will be answering it, that answer, and you'll be missing it. So that's the trick of the game. You just have to be in the top, like, 1% of the game. So whatever the market thinks, whatever they are doing in the game, you will have to anyways do it, but do it a little better than what they are doing.
Okay. And sir, last question is, what is your say on the new prelims pattern? Because currently the trend, last prelims trends was that they have changed the question pattern of, and now they have eliminated the elimination tricks on the last.
Even if it has changed for everyone. So as long as it is a level playing ground for everyone, just as I had said, this is a competitive exam. The pattern has changed, it has changed for everyone. So those long-term khiladis who have been like in the game for quite some time now, even for them, this is a new thing, new pattern. So I don't think it effectively changes anything. You can do, it's more of a Hawa type thing. Like there, everyone is just putting in Hawa, the question is changing, The elimination won't work for everyone. You are missing elimination, everyone else will be missing elimination. So now only knowledge will matter. So you will have to work on that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, we will take on the few questions. Yes.
Excuse.
Karbi.
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I wanted to ask. So I wanted to ask some question upon the coaching as well. Like, what do you think will be more beneficial, like if like online or the offline coaching as well? Because these days we are privileged to have an online platform as well. So like, I just want to know like which will be more beneficial for the students.
Okay. So I had taken online coaching, and depends mostly upon the discipline of the student. If the student is disciplined enough, then I think online is at this moment I would say better, because offline comes with a lot of cost. If you are easy, if it's easy or convenient for you to come to Delhi, spend 20-30K per month, 15, maybe 15 at best, if it's very economical for month, then it's, you can come for offline. But then again, offline comes with lots of distraction as well. I had stayed in Delhi only for interview period phase, and I have seen their environment in and around ORM, and what I felt was that it's too distracting, it's too loud, and there are way too many things happening there. So I would personally, even now, if given a chance, I would do online.
Okay, sir. And one more question. Since we have seen so many coaching institutes in the market, like say for Vajiram, Ggksa, and the Clear, like Vision IS. So, sir, like, can you suggest like which one of this coaching is like I won't say the best, but like what will you suggest for me? Because I am a newbie out here, so I don't know anything. So, sir, can you please help me?
Okay, I'll tell you one thing. I don't know about Vision because about the classes of Vision. At this moment, I did myself in Ggksa, and I have heard a lot of review about Vajiram. So why I joined Ggksa? Because it was a COVID year, and only one institute was providing online coaching back then, and it was Ggksa. So I joined that. Now there are so many coaching institutes providing online coaching. So between these two, you can take either. I have no. I have done in Ggksa. I know it's good. I have heard very good reviews about Vajiram as well. But Vajiram's contents are very heavy and very exhaustive. So at the end of the day, almost all the teachers that are in the market are almost at the same level, and they will be giving you the same things. It's up to you. Dekho, the thing is, if that coaching had provided something based on which the student cleared, then let's say there were 100 students enrolling in that institute that year, and all of those 100 would have cleared the exam, right? So it's not up to the coaching, it's up to the student. They all give the same things, mostly the same things. You won't be having something too funny coming from anyone. It's almost the same things in the market. What happens is that some of the students revise it so many times that they could get good at the stuff. But the same stuff, if you are not revising, those will be on your notes and not in your brain. And what is not in your brain is of no use, effectively. So having things in books or notes of coachings and not in brain is nothing. So wherever you take in any reputed institute that you can come up with, and once again, just that I had said to Hemdin, I think the basic thing is revision. I used to keep on saying this sentence after this exam. In UPSC, everything is negotiable except revision. You might negotiate whether you want to study newspaper or not. You might negotiate whether you want to give test series or not. But one thing that you cannot negotiate is revision. Whatever resource you have, you just have to keep on revising those over and over again.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Hello, sir.
Very good evening, sir.
Kritika Bora. I'm from Cotton University. I missed your opportunity when you came to Cotton, but I'm glad here. Alright. Sir, so I'm pursuing my graduation from Cotton University in sociology. So, sir, how do we select our optional paper? Like on the based on the subject we are pursuing our graduation, or how do we select our optional paper? So I would like to know that. And also, sir, when we are asked by our professors that what do you want to become, we see the number of hands raising is mostly for UPSC or APSC, like the civil service aspirants we see. So what's this hype? Is this a hype, or it's like just a following a trend? What is it?
Very nice question. So the first question is optional and hype. Okay. With optional, you are luckily doing graduation in a subject which is of demand in the market for UPSC. So I think that's good enough. If you are, anyways, what I used to say is that the subject that you are taking for optional should be based on your interest in the subject. But that is the first factor, definitely the first and the most important factor. If you have interest in a subject, then that's it. You don't have to go into the second and third points. But if after the first point, if you are not very sure about it, then the second point is availability of resources and test series in the subject. Now, once again, I had given 0 tests in anthropology. I had anthropology as my optional. Absolutely 0 answer writing in anthropology. But that's what I keep on saying. Everything is negotiable. So that is the second thing. Availability of resources on the subject and test series availability if you want to give test series. Third thing will be the third thing is very minor. It's like the length of the syllabus, how huge the subject is, and maybe something like 0.1% of the trend of marks that is coming in the subject. A few subjects are of late, like there is always a trend in UPSC. 3-4 years, few subjects, like 3-4 subjects will be scoring very good. Then again, next 3-4 subjects, those subjects will be going down. Some other new subjects will be coming up. You can probably get a hint of what the trend is. If you want, sociology is definitely one of the subjects which is which has been in good demand for last 3-4 years, I guess. And second thing, is it a hype? So yeah, I think there are several factors coming in and building to this hype. Be it social media, be it the coaching industry, everything, they have come up to build up a hype with the service. But having said that, you need to have an interest in actually doing that or not. So if you are really interested in that, only then you should come in. It's not just because at the end of the day, it's just like individual mindset. If you are like following the flock, then you will just following the flock. If you want to actually do something, then there is a way too much that you can do coming into service that even I didn't know even during my preparation period what the service actually provides and how much it provides as I'm coming to know when I'm in the service. As of now, when I see there are way too much scope to serve, to contribute, to make a change, to actually be a factor in the catalyst in the process of this vision of India up to 2047. So there's way too many things happening, way too much good thing. It's a very good window to serve, and yeah, I think there is definitely great things that can be done in the service, and that actually contributes to the hype. But then again, don't be a flock. Just have your own mind. Think about whether you want to do this way or not. Throughout the course, even I told that one thing that I want the youth to, I would wish the youth to go forward is entrepreneurship. So if you have entrepreneurial mindset, don't go into civil service. You go with entrepreneur. The country needs lots of entrepreneurs. But if you want to be a civil servant, you want to serve the nation, you want to serve the people in your own way, in your innovative way, then there is great dynamic opportunities available in the service.
Thank you, sir.
Very good evening, sir. Sir, I'm Arizka Bora from second year GMCS. After you have cracked the UPSC exams from a medical background, many of our fellow mates have gained a different kind of enthusiasm towards this examination. Sir, you mentioned about remembering around 700 to 800 statistical data. It's very confusing with numbers. How did you manage that?
Okay, so the thing with data is, okay, I'll tell you two things with this. Firstly, even for every factual thing that I was studying, not just data, what I used to do is, I used to write in chota notebooks. I'll kind of show you if I can find one. So kind of this type of small notebooks I used to carry around, where I write question on one end and on another end I write some answers. So what I used to do, I used to cover up the answers and try to recall. And this was my routine thing that I used to keep on doing. You don't forget the color of the rainbow because you have revised it enough. You don't forget when was the World War I, 1914 to 1918, because you have seen it or you have revised it quite number of times. You're from medical background, you won't forget the doses of paracetamol. It comes in 650, and so those type of things. You revise it enough, it sticks with your memory. So that was the technique, and with numbers, as in statistics for UPSC, let's say the statistics is 72.8%. So you don't need to remember the 72.8%. You can always use almost equals to 73%. So that's how I used to round it up. And once you round it up, it eventually starts to figure out. You combine both the strategies together, then it kinds of become possible to remember those data. I think that's it.
Thank you, sir.
I think as the time is limited, so I think we have to conclude the session for today, as sir might be a bit busy. So I think like thank you so much, sir. It's a really privilege to talk to you and have you with us. But from all the students present today, we thank you for all the tips and guidance you have provided today, sir. You are such a great inspiration for us, and we hope to see you again in future, sir.
Thank you, Zerklim, Lausudar, and Karbi student body for giving me this opportunity to interact with such young minds. And hopefully I'll see some of these guys, whoever have attended this session today, in future. And in case we come across in future, do come and tell me ki we had once interacted over some online platform. It would be nice to know. Chalo, it was nice interacting. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. All right, guys. Thank you for attending. Thank you very much. Signing off.